Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Hope everyone's having a great day. I know I am. Today is the second part, part two of the Ike's Fishing Basics 101. We're over on Facebook. And we're also over on Instagram today. Just going to be logging into Instagram right now. If you're watching today, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Hope things are good. I see some people already checking in. We've got Matt over on Facebook. Let's see, we've got Ben. We've got Nick, Shaggy, Ed, Will. Over on Instagram, we got Tanner over on Instagram. My homie Oliver over on Instagram. We're going to continue what we talked about yesterday, which is getting people fishing. Getting new people fishing. Listen to me, if you're watching this right now, if you've never fished before, it's okay, because fishing is so easy. It's easy. Fishing's so easy to get started. And what a great time. What a great time to experience the sport of fishing. Shout out to Shaggy, the best man, over on Instagram. Got Daniel, Tom, Ethan. Ethan says, turn my phone. All right, give me a second, Ethan. I'll turn my phone. Okay, there you go. My wife told me to turn it sideways, so sorry about that. All right, so listen. Here's what we're doing today. We're talking about getting the basics, getting the basic fishing gear that you need to fish for the first time. I know a lot of you watching right now, you've already fished. You're a fish head. You've fished for years. You're a bass head. You're a hardcore fly angler. You're a hardcore saltwater angler. You love going offshore. You love carp fishing. A lot of you already are great anglers. But there's a lot of people that haven't fished. And we're going to go through today the basics of going fishing. And it's easy. It's easy. I said it before yesterday, and I'm going to say it again. I've got two things I want to talk about before we get into this live. The first one is fishing is a great activity to participate in right now with everything that's gone on in the world. And I see people checking in from all over the United States. I see people checking in from all over the world. We've got Mark from Texas. We've got Justin. We've got Billy from Virginia. We've got some people from Buffalo. I see Fat Life from Buffalo over on Instagram. And we've got people from all over the world. And the first thing I want to say is these are strange, weird, unprecedented times with what's going on right now. But what a great time to get outdoors and go fishing. If you're allowed. For sure, I want you to follow your federal guidelines, follow your state guidelines. If you're in a country where you're not allowed to fish, listen, we're not asking you to break the law. But if you're in a place where you're allowed to go outside and quarantine, self-quarantine outside, practice safe social distancing outside, by the water, by a lake, by a river. If you're in a place where you can participate in that kind of activity, what a great time to do it. You can't do anything else right now. You can't go to the mall shopping. You can't go to the gym. You can't get your nails did. You can't go get a tattoo. You can't go to the pub with your mates right now. But you can go fishing. You can try fishing. You can take a kid. a neighbor, a nephew, following safe social distancing practices, you can go fishing outside in nature right now with what's going on. That's the first point. The second point, and I said this yesterday, and we're going to get into getting the basic fishing gear. The second point is, unlike a lot of sports, listen to me, on Instagram, Facebook right now, listen to me. Unlike a lot of other sports, golf, ice hockey, baseball, indoor soccer, I mean, I don't know, the list goes on and on. You don't need a lot of money. You don't have to have millions of dollars of equipment. You don't have to have strange, weird, specialized gear. You don't have to be a certain age, a certain gender, a certain race, a certain religion. It's open. It's wide open. And it's easy to get this gear. You don't need a ton of specialized gear. It's very easy to get the basic gear to start enjoying the sport of fishing. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the basic gear. And I've set up a bunch of stuff on the wall over here. Let me see if I can reposition you just a little bit. And we're going to go through the basics, okay? And remember, especially if you're watching this right now and you've never fished, or if you've watching this and you fished once in your life, or you fish once a year, or if you're going to take a kid fishing that's never fished. This is so easy, what I'm talking about. Don't get intimidated. Do not be intimidated by this gear selection. It's going to be so simple, okay? So today we're going to talk about the basic gear to get, okay? I'm going to go through the list, starting with the actual fishing gear, and then we'll talk a little bit about some other stuff you might want to bring with you. And then tomorrow, remember, this Ice Fishing Basics 101 is going on every day this week, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about preparing this gear. We're going to go through it, tell you how to string up a rod, tie a hook, all that. We're going to teach casting tomorrow a little bit. But today, it's all about what basic equipment you need to get started in fishing. And once again, remember, we talked about it yesterday. Fishing's fun. It's exciting. It's relaxing. What a great sport to engage in right now. What a great sport to connect you with the outdoors and nature, okay? So I'm in the shop. Let's start with something you gotta have, which is a rod and a reel. A rod and a reel. The beauty of these right now is that the technology has really stepped up in rods and reels. When I was a kid in the 70s and 80s, I know, I'm a dinosaur, it's okay. You had to spend some money to get good equipment. Today, you don't have to go broke. Listen to me. You don't have to go broke. I know a lot of you watching right now, times are tough. Money's tight. I get it, man. I get it. You're out of work. People are out of jobs. Things are tough. Stay very basic with your rods and reels. You don't need anything crazy, okay? A spin cast rod and reel for someone that's never fished, okay? And they call this a closed face reel. They call it a push button reel. A closed face reel is so easy for a child, for a kid, for someone that's never fished. This is a great way to start. Great way to start. A spinning reel. This is a spinning reel. Has a bail on it. Okay? They also call this an open-faced spinning reel. So easy to use for people that have never fished. In tomorrow's episode, we're going to go through casting, but a basic spinning reel, a basic spinning rod, that's all you need. You don't got to spend a lot of money. So many good combos out there right now that are anywhere from $20 to $50. $20 to $50. That's all. For $30, $40, $20 in some cases, you can get a very basic spin cast or spinning combo. So you don't need a lot of money. The one thing I would recommend is if you're fishing for the first time, get a lighter action rod. Both these rods, these are Abu Garcia. They're called Ike Dude combos. Spin cast and spinning. They both retail for about $39. And they're both light action rods. The spin cast is 5.5 foot. The spinning is 6 foot. And they're light action. They're medium and medium light action. If you're fishing for the first time, get a lighter action rod and reel. Get a smaller rod and reel. 5.5, 5 foot to 6.5, 7 foot. Stay very basic. The light action is important because if you're fishing for the first time, we want to make casting, setting the hook, we want to make all that easy and fun. And that lighter action rod, whatever bites, it's going to feel big, even if it's small. So a basic rod and reel, spinning or spin cast, lighter action, smaller rod. Don't go crazy, okay? So you need a rod and reel to fish with. You can get these anywhere. Anywhere you buy sporting equipment, you can get. With what's going on today, it's easy to online shop for these things. Very easy. Directly through the manufacturer or through online retailers. One of my favorites is Tackle Warehouse. They have a tremendous amount of combos like this in a great price range. All the other ones too. Walmart, Amazon, they all have them, okay? Basic rod and reel, spin cast or spinning, light action. The next thing you're going to need is line. Here's some good news. Some of the combos, like the Ike Dude combos from Abu Garcia, they come pre-spooled with line. So you don't have to worry about it, okay? So some combos have line on them already. But for those rods and reels that don't, you need to get some fishing line, okay? Same thing. Just stay basic. Stay real basic with your fishing line. You don't got to go crazy. You don't have to spend a lot of money. And I recommend for people first starting fishing, your first couple trips, adult, kid, middle-aged, senior, whatever, it doesn't matter. Stay basic with your line. I love traditional monofilament. I really, really, really like Berkeley Trilene. I like the XL is great line. It's very inexpensive. It's really good mono. It's been around forever. I also like the Berkeley Trilene Sensation, which is also really good line. And I use this on a lot of my starter rods when I'm getting kids fishing. Stay basic with your line. Just get mono. The one thing I want you to know is that the pound test. And depending on what you think you're going to catch, your line size selection is going to change. But in the beginning, remember, this is the basics. We're just getting you out for the first time fishing. In the beginning, go with lighter monofilament. Go with anywhere from 4 to 10 pound, maybe 12 pound monofilament. I love 6. I love 8. They're really good sizes. And if you're fishing for anything from bluegill to bass and catfish, anything in between, that's going to be a great line size. It's going to give you a great fight when you catch those fish. In tomorrow's episode, listen to me. Remember, you want to tune back tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Tomorrow's episode, we're going to teach you how to put line on those rods and reels. We're going to show you how to do it, okay? So you need line. Once again, keep it real basic. You can get them at any retailer. Of course, Tackle Warehouse right now, you can get them there. The next thing I want to talk about is getting the tackle. And when you say tackle, when you're talking about fishing, you generally mean the other stuff. You're talking about hooks, weights, bobbers, lures. You know, that's the tackle. And here's the good news. Listen, if you're watching right now, you don't need a lot of tackle. You don't need a lot. And listen, that's coming from me. That's coming from a guy that is a tackle junkie. I'm an addict. Here, you want to take, I'm going to flip Facebook around. Look at all the stuff I got. Look at it. I'm crazy about tackle. But I want to tell you, you don't need a lot. You don't need a lot of tackle. Literally, this is a little Flambeau box that I've got. And this is a Flambeau starter kit. It's an Ike Foundation starter kit that has all the basics in it that you need to get started from a standpoint of tackle. Okay? I'm going to open up this box and I'm going to show you a couple of the items that you got to have. Okay? We'll start with bobbers or weights. And I'm a huge believer for people first starting fishing. If you're starting fishing for the first time, I'm a big believer in floats or bobbers because they're so visual and they let you see when that fish bites. As a beginner angler, floats are really key. And I'll just pull out a couple that I have in this box and show you. You know, you've got your very basic floats, so easy to use. And we're going to talk about how to rig these tomorrow in tomorrow's Preparing Your Gear class. And then we have the Teardrop Floats. And these are the ones that I really love. I love these floats that have a teardrop shape to them. These are the ones that I use personally. These are the ones I love. And I really like the ones that have a little weight at the bottom of the float. You can see that's a little band of weight there at the bottom. These teardrop floats cast a mile, and they're easier to detect the bite. When that fish bites, they're easier to detect the bite. So you want some floats, and you want some weights. Whether you're talking about split shots, these are just little tiny weights that clamp on the line, or egg sinkers, or whatever your weights are. There are going to be some situations where you want the bait on the bottom and you don't want it on the top. Okay, so floats, weights, hooks. I want you to get a couple different sizes of hooks. Hooks come in a lot of different sizes, but the great thing is hooks are very inexpensive. This is a panfish hook kit by VMC. It's pretty awesome. And it's got hooks in there from a real small little hook, like a size 10, all the way up to like about a 1/0 hook. And these kits are nice depending on the size of the bait you're going to use. So if you're fishing for little tiny panfish, you've got little tiny hooks, like a number 10, a number 12 even. If you're fishing for bass, you've got bigger hooks like an 8 or a 6. Or if you're fishing for bigger species, maybe catfish, maybe, pike, maybe something bigger. There's even some bigger hooks in these kits. So a selection of hooks. On hook style, listen, again, this is basics. You don't need to go crazy, right? Look at this. This is let me get a bigger one so I can show you. This is just a regular Aberdeen round bend style bait holder. Round bend Aberdeen style bait holder. Stay basic. You don't need to go crazy, okay? So you're going to need some hooks, Okay, so we talked about floats, we talked about hooks, we talked about weights. Guess what? The great thing about all this stuff so far is nothing's expensive. Hooks, weights, included in a box like that, you can get for about $10. For about $10, you can get a selection of hooks and weights and bobbers to get started. Again, some of these basic kits are sold just like that in a little box. If you want to get a little bit bigger bag or box, they're relatively inexpensive as well. I love these soft bags. This is a soft bag by Flambeau. It's a little Ike bag. It's got a little more room in it, and you're going to be able to put your other stuff that we're going to talk about in that bag. But regardless, you're going to need, for your hooks, weights, and bobbers, and some of these other things we talk about, you're going to need a little box or a little bag. Once again, very, very inexpensive. Okay? Let's keep going, because this is where, for me, it gets fun. Because now we're going to talk about what to use for bait, right? Okay, let's get our checklist going. We've got our rod and reel, check. We've got our line, check. We've got our hooks, weights, and bobbers, check. And we have something to carry them in, whether it's a little tackle box or a little tackle bag, okay? So we've got the basics. Now, this gets fun for me, because remember, Instagram, if you're watching, Facebook, if you're watching, remember, I told you this. I'm a tackle junkie. And even on the basic stuff, I get excited when I talk about bait, lures, and bait. So here it goes. If you're a beginning angler, if you're watching on Facebook and Instagram, and you fishing for the first time, or you're taking your kid fishing for the first time, don't be intimidated by bait, the lures. Don't be intimidated. We're going to keep this easy, simple, just like we did everything else, okay? We're going to keep it simple. The other thing we're going to do with bait, listen to me, this is a good one. If you're a mom watching, if you're a single mother, if you're an aunt you're watching, and you want to take somebody fishing for the first time, you want to take a kid fishing for the first time, don't worry about live bait. Night crawlers, mealworms, maggots, leeches, minnows. Don't worry about it. You don't need live bait. You don't need live bait. Come on in here. You okay? Here. Okay, we got a special guest right here. We have Estella, who just came in the shop. There's a storm coming through right now, and you're a little scared, aren't you? Okay, we got a storm here in New Jersey right now. Mommy's upstairs. Do you want to go see her? Okay, I love you. Okay, special appearance from Stella. If you're worried about bait, actual live bait, don't worry about it. You don't have to touch worms and catch minnows and worry about a leech or a helgramite biting you. You don't have to worry about that anymore. There's so many good products now that are not real. They're not real bait, but they work just as good, okay? Listen to me. I'm telling you, I'm a convert. I used to believe, when you were taking somebody fishing for the first time, you had to have live bait. You had to have live bait. You don't need live bait anymore. I'm going to show you a couple basic products when you're first starting that you want to get, and they're really, really good. First one is Gulp. Is Gulp, and I know a lot of you watching right now have probably used Gulp. Maybe you use Gulp in salt water, or maybe you've used it for bass fishing, for smallmouth. But Gulp is so good because it catches everything. Gulp catches everything that swims. I promise. And the great thing about Gulp, it's in these little jars or little bags. I'm going to show you a couple different shapes. And it stays in these really nice. It does stink. It sort of smells really bad, but the fish love it. It's easy to work with. Unlike live bait, you're not going to kill it. You don't have to refrigerate it. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You just keep it in your tackle box. You keep it in your tackle bag. So I love Gulp. And Gulp comes in a lot of different shapes. We've got little white, these are like fake, these are imitation grubs or maggots. We've got, this is one of my favorites. We've got a worm, looks like a real red worm. Here's a bag of Hellgrammites. Looks like a little larva in the water. Absolutely one of my favorites right here. This is a fat worm by Gulp. It works for everything from shiners to trout to catfish to bass to crappie. So many good ones in here. See what else I've got. Got another style of worm from Gulp. So keep it basic. Gulp is such a great product because you can put it on that little hook with that bobber. You can cast it out there and it's going to get bit. Gulp will get bit. I promise you. I swear it's so good. Sometimes it beats live bait. Just had a what's up from Remy. What's up, Remy, over on Facebook. Got a Justin over on Instagram. Justin, what's up? Bonita Boy, what's up, over on Instagram. Steve Weber, what's up? How you doing? Aaron agreeing with Gulp. He likes the Gulp leech. Okay, so with bait, keep it simple. You don't need a lot of stuff. Gulp is great. I also love little grubs, little tubes, little curl-tail grubs. These are some little 2-inch power bait grubs. Put these on a jig head. They catch everything that swims. And then I'm going to open up just a little box, and I'm going to show you some basic lures. And listen, if you're a little more advanced and you fished before and you want to retry it and you're like, I don't want to mess with Gulp, I want to use lures. Same thing. Listen to me. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Berkeley Power Bait grubs in little tubes, great. They'll catch everything. Look at these things. Little Rapala minnows. Little Rapala minnows. You see that right there? They have caught everything from freshwater to saltwater. These things will catch everything. Spinners. Inline spinners. Look at that. Rooster tails. Meps. Look at these little meps and rooster tails. Inline spinners are great. So even if you decide you don't want to use the Gulp, you want to use a lure, keep it simple. Keep it real basic, okay? The great thing about everything I just showed you, the Gulp, even some of these lures, you ready? Unlike, I hate to keep picking on golf, but I'll just keep picking on golf. Unlike golf, where the golf club costs you almost $1,000, and the balls cost you $60, $70, and then you got to get a bag for the golf clubs, and then you got to get your fancy polo. Unlike all that stuff, you have to have the special shoes. Forget about that. All this stuff, very, very inexpensive. Little thing of Gulp like this, which will, in most cases, last you the whole season, if not more, under $5. Very, very inexpensive, okay? So you're going to need some tackle, which I like. All right, I'm going to go now from, we talked about the very basic rod, reel, line, tackle box, tackle bag, and then baits. We talked about that. Now I'm going to switch to the stuff that's important for your first fishing experience, but it's not necessarily just fishing stuff. Here's the great thing about this part of this segment. You got a lot of this stuff already, so you don't have to buy this stuff. You got it laying around the house. I promise you, a lot of what I'm going to show you in the next couple minutes, you already have, okay? So in that tackle box or bag, hooks, weights, bobbers, Gulp, some spinners, whatever. You also want a pair of pliers and you want a scissors. You want a pair of pliers and you want a scissors, okay? Pliers and scissors, that's all you need. Use the ones you already have at home. That's fine, okay? Clothing-wise, you're going to need a good hat. Get yourself a hat. Hats are great when you're fishing because it helps cut out the sunlight, helps keep the shade on you, helps keep out the sunlight, helps you see in the water better. And along with that sight, get a pair of polarized sunglasses. Polarized sunglasses. Listen, I am not asking you to spend $500 on a pair of Costas or Maui Jims. Nope, I'm not asking you to do that. Just buy some polarized sunglasses. You can get them relatively inexpensive. There's some great pairs for $15 to $30, $40. These are Ike series sunglasses. You can get these things for $15. $15. These are the ones I wear. Look at them. They're perfect. But they protect your eyes. They're polarized. They let you see in the water better. Get some glasses. And get them for kids, too. If you've got 3 people fishing with you, make sure everybody has a pair of polarized glasses. Rain gear is great. Rain gear, you've already got rain gear at the house. Even if it's just a trash bag, you've got rain gear. So bring some rain gear with you for the elements when you're fishing outside. More stuff that you already have in your house. If you're fishing for the first time, these are easy to throw in your tackle box or tackle bag. Some bug spray, okay? Bring some bug spray, especially as we get into the warmer months. Bring a can of bug spray. Sunscreen. Sunscreen's super important. Bring some sunscreen with you. You're fishing with kids. Definitely make sure you've got sunscreen on the kids and yourself as well. A life vest, okay? A life vest. Listen, this seems basic, but so many people forget about a life vest. Especially if you're fishing from a boat. If you're going to fish from a John boat or a canoe or a kayak or a big boat, but even if you're fishing from the bank, if you're with a kid or a child, or if you're with someone that they're not proficient at swimming, get one of these life vests. This is one, my son Vegas, he's 9. This is his. I just grabbed it over there. And they're nice because they're not heavy, they're not bulky. These are the automatic inflate. If he falls in the water, if you fall in, they'll inflate automatically. Just a basic life vest too is great. Especially, let me just say, especially if you're out on the water, if you're in a rowboat or a canoe or a John boat, bring life vests. That's important. Getting down to the wire here, and want to talk about a few last things for you here. A net, the net is, if you want to get a net, you can get one. If you've already got one laying around the house, okay. It can help you in the fish landing process, depending on what species you're fishing for. But a net, you might not need that. And then the last piece of basic equipment, and listen, you already have this at the house. I know you do. The last basic piece of equipment is a first aid kit. Throw a first aid kit. Oh, we got Ireland in the house. Robert, how you doing from Ireland? I appreciate it. First aid kit, have with you. Band-Aids, the basic stuff. That should be there. Listen, we talked about a lot of stuff right there, but don't get intimidated. I know it seemed like a lot, but really, most of what we talked about can fit. Most of what we talked about can fit in that and can fit in that bag. It's not a lot. We talked about the basic equipment, the basic fishing gear you need to go fishing. For the first time, for the 5th time in your life, taking a kid fishing for the first time, keep it simple. A spinning rod or a spin casting rod, lighter action rod, easy. Monofilament, 6 to 10 pounds, 6 to 12 pound tests, easy. Some hooks in different sizes, some weights and some bobbers, easy. Some Gulp or power bait, easy. Okay? You throw in some of the other stuff we talked about that you already have at the house anyway, and guess what? You are ready for your first day of fishing. It's that simple. Once again, you didn't spend a lot of money. You didn't spend a lot. Everything I talked about, I'm looking back at it right now. Everything I talked about, you could get it all for a little over $100. Somewhere between $100 and $150. Everything we talked about, you can get. And remember, a lot of that stuff you already have at home. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown of how easy it is to get started fishing. It's so easy. Don't be intimidated. If you're watching this and you've never fished before, don't be intimidated. It's very basic. It's so simple. And this is just leading up to getting to the water. And once we get to the water, we're going to have so much fun fishing. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be relaxing. It's going to be fun. It's a great sport. It's a great sport. All right, listen to me. Yesterday we talked about why are you going to try to go fishing? Why fishing? Today we talked about getting the basic fishing gear, what you need, the basics to get started. Tomorrow, don't miss tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be fun. Tomorrow, tune in, 2 p.m. Eastern time here in the United States, and we're going to be talking about preparing your fishing gear. So we're going to take all that stuff that we talked about today. Ricardo from Portugal. Hola. We're going to talk about all this stuff that we talked about today, and we're going to put it together. We're going to show you how to spool a rod and a reel. We're going to show you how to tie on a hook, how to put the bobber on there, how to put the Gulp on there. We're going to do all that. And we're even going to do some practice casting tomorrow. Okay. That's a good one, Chris. Chris on Facebook just reminded me, and I did have it on my notes. Thank you, Chris. That we will need, if you're an adult watching this, if you're 16 years old or older in most states, you're going to need a fishing license. I'm going to talk more about that on day number 4, which is Thursday. We're going to be in the office talking about how to find a fishing spot. And when I talk to you there, I'll talk more about the licenses. But listen, once again, tune in tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to be putting all this together. It's so easy to put line on a reel. It's so easy to put a hook and a bobber on that. It's so easy to learn how to put the Gulp on the hook. We're going to do all that. And we're going to practice casting tomorrow, which is fun in itself without even being on the water. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you, everybody on Instagram that watched. Thank you, everybody on Facebook. Again, let me leave you with this before we go. We're in a strange time. We've got a global pandemic going on. It's a weird, unprecedented time. But if you're allowed to fish, if you're in a state or a country where you can go outdoors and self-isolate, self-quarantine, by yourself or with your family or with your friends and keep safe social distancing, by all means, do it. Enjoy the sport. This is a great time to try fishing. There's not a lot you can do right now, but going outside, enjoying nature, the outdoors, and this great sport of fishing is something that is amazing right now. And it's special. It's such a special sport. And I hope people are watching this that have never fished. I hope you're thinking, I want to try this. I want to connect with nature. I want my children to experience nature. I hope you take them. I hope you go. Because once you go, pardon the pun, but you'll be hooked. You'll be hooked for life. I know I was. Thank you for joining me for this second installment of Ike's Fishing Basics 101. Check back tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be talking about preparing your fishing gear. Once again, everything we talked about in today's episode, if you're wondering, where can I get it? All of your retailers carry this stuff. For sure, check out Tackle Warehouse. If you get a chance, they got a lot of this great product. Have a good one. Be safe. Be safe. Everyone, please be safe. And we will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one. Thank you. Bye.